NFL officiating is just straight horrendous. We all love the NFL. Here we are on an NFL podcast. Thank you for watching. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for reading all the pieces that we put out there and giving us an opportunity to be employed, because there's no bigger machine in the sporting world than the NFL. However, watching an NFL football game where a whistle blows on every single play sucks. It's just brutal. And certainly watching the way the NFL has somehow figured out taunting and their rules and what type of look someone's giving, like Cassius Marsh, who's looking at the Steelers bench last night when he was on the Steelers earlier this year, guy that has made his way around the league and had an incident with Bill Belichick back in New England in 2019. In the fourth quarter of a Monday Night Football game, you got to call a penalty is just absurd. They also in that game guessed at James Daniels, the Bears guard, called a penalty on him because they thought that he had made contact, but that was incorrect. I'm only doing one particular football game right now, but there's a lot of it's every week with the officials and the taunting and everything. You can go in the end zone and have a celebration, but you can't do this. It's exhausting. And the officials, I don't know if they need to be empowered more or empowered less. Where are you at on this, Verderame?
They need to be empowered less. Okay. And I am someone who's, I guess, of my generation, the younger, I'm 33. Like I am old school with this. Like I don't need guys taunting. I don't need guys doing a dance every time they make a play. Like I don't hate it or anything. I don't mind it, but I don't need it. It's not part of my enjoyment of the game. That being said, Cassius Marsh, he did not taunt the Steelers. He was like 30 yards from the sideline. Like, who cares? Taunting should be if you're egregiously in somebody's face. Okay? If you are doing a vile or an obscene gesture, which I know there are people, especially, again, my age and younger, who are like, oh, you sound like an old man. Look, I don't have a problem with the NFL legislating that out. Because if you might be aware, look, the NFL has a lot of sponsors. A lot of those sponsors are run by older people. Like I get that some of this goes back to money and like sponsors. Like, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see you guys do. But again, 95% of these taunting calls that we've seen this year are just bull. They're ridiculous. There's stuff that like it's so unoffensive to anybody that I do think, yeah, sure, there's the 5% that the guy absolutely deserves it. Some ridiculous thing. And everybody can agree, all right, yeah, that guy took it over the line. The Bears got robbed last night. Now, one thing I will say, can the Bears line up on defense? I mean, they're in the neutral zone like every third play. I don't know what that was. The Bears are just like they have the blue line for the scrims, and the Bears have guys who have like their hips on the blue line. And like, what? Can you line up? Can anyone tell them to get lined up correctly? But that being said, look, the taunting call was ridiculous. Then, earlier in the game, on the touchdown pass, you'll remember who it was. Was it to Komet?
Jimmy Graham.
To Jimmy Graham. Where they call a low block outside of the tight end box, which A, was not outside the tight end box, and B, didn't even block him. He missed him. And Correnti calls it a personal foul. If I'm the Bears, so that's where Nagy should have gone in after the game and just blasted the crap out of the officiating room, taking whatever fine he got, and the McCaskies could have paid it. Like, that was beyond egregious and might have very well cost them any chance of making the playoffs.
Right. And I don't think the Bears are going to win many more games the rest of the way, and they weren't going to be a playoff team regardless. But that was a huge game for Chicago. Here's a guy who's got a head coach who's battling for his career, at least to remain a head coach in the NFL. And you've got Tony Correnti, who's, by the way, officiated 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, very highly thought of official.
5. Okay. What Super Bowl is it this year, Verderame? We can do the math on this. It's a lot of
6.
Yeah. Okay. So, we're talking, in the time that he's been in the league, this is a very, very well thought of official. And I've got the pool report, which our guy Adam Hogue interviewed him after the game. Can you explain the low block penalty that was called on Chicago's James Daniels that negated a touchdown in the third quarter? Once again, the new rule this year, this is Correnti talking now, is there should be no contact below the waist to any player outside of the tight end box. And this player initiated low contact to a player outside the tight end box. And then the Hogue follows up. In that situation, is it still a penalty if the offensive player fails to make contact? Carenti, I have to judge that there was contact, and that's what I judged. And I get it, you're not perfect, dude, but you're guessing at contact on a touchdown where it had zero impact on the play, and you've taken points off the board. You've slowed the game down. You're wrong. It's just terrible. Nobody wants it. It's bad on all. It's bad. It's bad for Jim Bob sitting at home who just wants to have a soda, a beer, and eat his popcorn and watch the game. It's boring for him, and and for the diehards, you got it wrong, dude. It's
I mean,
rough.
we can all move on. Everybody agrees, but yeah, I'm with you. It has to stop.
I just don't insert yourself in the game is my point when you don't have to.
You don't have to be the storyline of the game. And you know what? That game last night felt like they just couldn't wait to throw another flag. And I'm with you. Nobody wants to watch a game. Like first of all, just in general, and I believe this in all sports, let the game be played. Let it play.
Right.
Just
right.
I can't stand watching a basketball game either. When every time some guy gets touched on the hip, it's a foul, and you're gonna stop. And I mean, last night, my God, the Sixers and the Knicks, it was like a fist fight, and they didn't call anything, which is great, by the way. I enjoyed it.
I didn't see that, but that would have been amazing.